Welcome to Movie World Plus, a place where we talk movies plus streaming plus whatever else I want to talk about in Hollywood. And today I'm here to review Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. And yes, I went into this film skeptical. I got to be honest. I went in like I think a lot of you are going to go in, worried given the last film of this franchise, Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. That compared to the iconic trilogy that we know and love of Raiders and Temple of Doom and Last Crusade. Did we need this next film to right the wrong, or will it right the wrong, or will it just be as wrong? Those were the questions going in through my mind. And I'd heard about the opening scene. Oh my God, it's so amazing. He's de-aged. It feels like a lost scene from the original. So I was hopeful, and I'm a fan of Phoebe Waller-Bridge. I love her show Fleabag on Amazon. I went in incredibly positive. I tried to give James Mangold the benefit of the doubt, even against those salty nerds. Sadly, this film just did not hit the mark for me. Is it better than Kingdom of Crystal Skull? That seems to be the debate. I don't even know. Is Kingdom of Crystal Skull really that bad compared to this one? I don't know. I haven't watched it in a long time. This one's less silly, but this one still has its problems. And I'm going to break down my problems, but I would just warn you, go in lowering your expectations. Now, my wife, Jami, enjoyed it. She had fun. The audience seemed to have a blast in this. Maybe I am, just being annoying. I don't know. But I found myself bored at times. Now, I should say I got to see Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning the night before, and there are some similarities in that it's longer, action-oriented. There's I won't say what, but there are car chase scenes very similar, small alleys that they're going through and crazy turns. And Mission Impossible handles those sequences with just such a amazing direction. It feels practical and it doesn't feel as long. And I'm on the edge of my seat going, whoa, as you watch the cameras and Tom Cruise and just move. Haley Atwell is in it. And you're like, man, this is exciting. And in Indiana Jones, they have this big tut-tut chase. And I'm just sitting there just kind of like, it looks fake. Harrison Ford's just too old for it. The pacing was off for me. Comparing these two scenes back to back after one, I'm just like, I've seen this before better. And that was a lot of this film. I've seen this film, but better. There really is no reason for it. And Phoebe Waller-Bridge, as much as I love her, I do. I hate to be on the hate train with her. I just didn't buy her as the character here. And more importantly, I just found her annoying. The character she plays of sort of this thief, we learn, someone who was in his past. And then, what is she actually there for? What's the reasoning? They're both on an artifact hunt. I just didn't like the character. and I like her a lot from her previous work. I don't hate Phoebe Waller-Bridge. I think she deserves the accolades she's gotten for her shows, etc. But it just didn't work for me here. And then you go to Indiana Jones himself, and yeah, it made me like re-wonder my whole childhood. I'm like, is this franchise and character as good as I thought it was? Is he always this grumpy? He kind of is. Am I just having my nostalgia for Indiana Jones blind me from the fact that maybe this isn't one of the iconic franchises? And then I'm like, no. Raiders is perfect. Last Crusade's a fantastic ending. Temple of Doom has its weird moments, but it's still iconic. These are good movies. Crystal Skull was silly. Shia LaBeouf swinging through monkey vines and hiding in fridges. I will say Dial of Destiny doesn't have that level of silliness. It doesn't. Although there is one hit a guy takes on a train, you're like, that dude would be dead, and he's not. No, it has some moments of silly, but it's still not as bad. And I will say CGI and everything is better. And yes, there's that opening sequence where they de-age Harrison Ford. And in the beginning, you're like, whoa, that actually looks really good. But as the sequence progresses, it looks like a video game. It does. It looks like a weird TikTok filter over Harrison Ford's face. And it does take you out of it a bit. You're either going to buy into it or you're not. And I bought into it a little bit, and then I didn't. And then as cool as it sort of was to see classic Indian action, it wasn't the best indie we've seen by any stretch of the imagination. And then the whole thing we go to seeing then older Harrison Ford as Indiana Jones, and Mangold's like, well, good, I want that. I want people to be disappointed when we see the old indie, because that's where this film needs to be and where it starts. And I'm like, did it? Do we really need an old, disappointed, grumpy Indiana Jones? Why? Why do we need to see that? Why couldn't we end it with Last Crusade and he goes off in the sunset? It makes me appreciate the Back to the Future trilogy so much more because they're not allowed to keep going back to it and try to do it more. No, it's just, it is what it is. It's done and it lives forever and it stays timeless. Whereas some of these franchises, as they bring them back, it actually hurts the brand, I think. While they try to stretch it for more money, it's not actually helping matters. And that's how I felt overall in this. There were just parts that I'm like, it's fine. It's okay. And I'm sure more audience members are going to be fine with it and think I'm being a nitpicker here. But overall, I've seen this movie done better. And there are certain times where I just want the characters to come back because I like them so much that I forgive it a little bit more. And I'm like, yeah, that's fun. I want to see these characters again. That's often what sequels are about. But I didn't feel like this really brings anything to the table aside from slightly righting the wrongs of Kingdom of Crystal Skull. And I don't feel like it righted him enough to warrant it. I just don't think we needed this film. Overall, I wasn't there's no set piece in this film that's going to stay with me. There's no like character in this film that's going to stay with me. There's just the fact of knowing where Indy is in this point in life. And then there is an ending, which is kind of interesting. No spoilers. But overall, yeah, massively disappointed. I was sadly, incredibly disappointed. And there's going to be a lot of people who are just labeling it woke and she takes over. She's just a female lead, like any, she's strong. And yeah, she wants to be in charge. That was not my problem. My problem was she was just very unlikable. They're both fighting for, jockeying for the things at times, and then supporting each other and not like I don't want to ruin the movie, but I just didn't connect to her as much as I wanted to. And I like her. Again, this is coming from somebody who loves Fleabag and Fleabag Bridge. And I just was like, eh. Now my wife liked it. She liked her. She's like, I bought it. I liked it. She had fun. The audience seemed to have fun. People will probably have fun. It's not by any stretch of imagination the worst movie I've seen. Like Mangold does his best, but it just doesn't have that Spielbergian magic. There wasn't a scene or parts. There's a couple like cute scene where he like cracks the whip and then everyone pulls up the guns. But again, I feel like I've just seen it all. Seen this before, done better, and sadly, I guess I had higher expectations. I was really hoping for one last adventure. There's a scene in this where John Rhys Davies comes back. Salah's there, and he's like, "Great Indiana Jones, you go get him!" And it ends up being sort of wasted for a laugh. But there's this moment where he's like, "I miss the sand, and I want to go on the adventure." And Indiana's all grumpy, like, "This isn't an adventure." And you're like, "Why not? Why didn't you write an adventure? Why we always gotta like make these heroes so dark at the end and not have a clever, worthy adventure for them to go on? The adventure, the MacGuffin is supposed to be the point of the story. Like, if we don't have that and it's not worthy, then we shouldn't make the movie." And I just don't think it was worthy. Again, without spoiling, there's an interesting part at the end that I will say I found interesting. Some people won't. Some people may. Choices are made. It's hard to not talk about the last act. I can't talk about it without spoiling it. I don't want to spoil it for you. But I will say I liked it better. But there's a lot of also just characters come in this movie and they die. They kill them all. And it's like, it's weird. Yeah, totally. It was overly long, not as effective. Didn't feel the same indie magic that I wanted to, sadly. And overall, Dial of Destiny, not my favorite. Is it better than Kingdom of the Crystal Skull? That's literally going to be the question everybody asks. And sure, I guess, yes, technically it's better. It is. Crystal Skull is just silly. I need to rewatch them all. And I'm planning to go rewatch them all with my family so I can have a better taste of indie. Because again, this film is left like, am I missing and remembering Indy wrong? Is he always as grumpy and not as good? Because the last two indie adventures I've had are just so sour. And I'm like, was it really as good as I remember? So I am going to force myself to go back with my kids. We're going to introduce them and we're going to watch the original 3 again. And then I will watch Crystal Skull to see if it holds up as well. So I'll let you know later as we get there. But yeah, overall, lower those expectations going into Dial of Destiny. Yeah, sorry. Sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but that's how I felt. But hopefully you love it. Those salty nerds were right. Mangold Man, why were you wasting time during production to be watching people like Matt Kadish and Salty Nerd Podcast and you just proved them right. You proved them right. You were so worried about the fan interaction while you were shooting that you didn't step back to think, is this going to be what the fans want? You just didn't care. And that's the fate of Hollywood these days. It's so sad. It's so sad. They get this big opportunity. Movies are hard to make now. They're hard to sell. And they make these choices without really like trying to push hard. Is this really going to be what we want? Is this worthy of an adventure? And no, I don't think this was the destiny. The dial of destiny was the direction we needed to go, sadly. But if you want to see more takes, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell for all alerts, smash that like button. Check out what I think of Dead Reckoning. I gave you my initial reaction. My last video with my son Sawyer, we ranked all the Mission Impossible movies, and I will give you a proper review when I'm allowed, I think next week. That one I enjoyed. I will spoil it there. I enjoyed it much more than this. So stay tuned. Check it out. I'm curious what you think. Did you see it today? Are you going to see Dial of Destiny tonight? This weekend? Let me know when you come back. Come back and tell me what you think after you see it. And thanks so much for watching here on Movie World Plus.